So why does this happen? Well, I'd like to use a potential case example of a patient that I saw very recently that perhaps may demonstrate why we see a survival prolongation effect with aggressive upfront management, adjuvant management for high-risk low-grade glioma. This is a gentleman who 10 years ago was 24 years old. He just had his first child and was unfortunately presented with a seizure and was diagnosed with a low-grade glioma of the left temporal lobe, for which he underwent a subtotal resection, meaning there was residual tumor left behind that was not deemed to be surgically resectable due to its involvement of eloquent speech areas. At that time, he was defined as a 1p19q co-deleted grade 2 oligodendroglioma, a very favorable low-grade glioma. And as was the practice at many centers at that time, the patient was observed thereafter. But then he subsequently developed a radiographic progression. On this slide, every arrow pointing downwards, that is a red arrow, is a situation where the patient developed a radiographic progression. He developed radiographic progression approximately 3 years later, and then was subsequently managed with high-dose temozolomide chemotherapy. Subsequently, at year 7 after his initial surgery, he developed radiographic progression again. He received chemoradiotherapy, his first exposure to radiotherapy, 7 years after his diagnosis at that time, and that provided some control, but then eventually he developed radiographic progression after that. He required Avastin, and he saw me very recently for the consider of re-irradiation using proton therapy. And I suspect, unfortunately, that this 34-year-old gentleman now is unlikely to live much longer. And over the past few years, it is clear that his tumor has de-differentiated to become a high-grade glioma, likely a glioblastoma. In fact, that was validated 6 months ago when he had surgical resection that demonstrated WHO grade 4 astrocytoma.